Good morning, beautiful people out there. It's been a little while since I've updated. It is the fall. What is it? October 20th, 2022. Um, I had finished my second round of Tepezza, I don't know, probably March of this year. In the prior year, it was about this time period after my treatment where I started to get a flare up. Um, and I find myself in a precarious place because I have very terrible allergies. It's the fall, and the way the seasons are here, because it fluctuates temperatures so much, it's really hard to tell, like, if this is caused from thyroid eye disease or allergies, um, or a combination of the two. So I'll start by this is me in the morning. Not a pleasant sight. I apologize. So I still have, like, I wake up and it's not, proptosis isn't there. However, it's just, there's so much fluid in here. It's like, I don't know. It's uncomfortable, I guess is the only word I can use. So I can say that Tepezza really helped minimize my symptoms. And whether it's allergies, thyroid eye disease, or the fact that I had a total thyroidectomy 3 years ago, and my hormone balance with that is still trying to be figured out. I'm really not sure. So as far as that goes, a couple months back, I've been on the same medication since I had my total thyroidectomy about 3 years ago. Before that, I was already on like biotin, some multivitamins, and things like that. I was actually taking too much stuff. However, it wasn't until like almost 2.5 years after that surgery that I had to change my primary care doctor, and he looked at my list of meds and was like, let's see, you're on this, and this. And these things all sort of like don't work with your thyroid medication that you're taking. So it's possible that my labs for the entire 2.5 year period were not ones that could have really been useful, super useful, because they're not a true indicator necessarily of what and where my body's at with my thyroid issues. So basically, the labs make it look like I've been hypo, as I should be hypo. I had my thyroid taken out. I should be hypothyroid all the time. However, it's also been heavily medicated with high doses of Armour Thyroid. About a month and a half ago, I switched from Armour Thyroid back to levothyroxine, and just levothyroxine. And I also have a history of intracranial hypertension, so I feel a bit discombobulated on it at times. When I originally was taking it, I was working a job outdoors, very physical. I was lifting a lot. I was literally out in like 110-degree temperatures during the summer here in Arizona, and I couldn't function, and so I had to switch to something else. So Armour Thyroid was really it for me for a while. However, the other vitamins and things I was on were like interacting with that, and so about 2.5 weeks ago, I switched from Armour Thyroid, a high dosage of Armour Thyroid, to uh, the levothyroxine about 2.5 weeks ago, and no, about a month ago for the levothyroxine. I apologize. And then I waited a few weeks to kind of test where that's at, and my labs actually still look a lot like they were. However, I got off all of the supplements and things that were impacting it. And it was crazy because when that first doctor this year told me, hey, like, all of these things could be affecting your thyroid meds, it was like this light went off in my head, and I was like, huh, so could that be why I haven't felt like okay, or like kind of okay in the last few years since I had my thyroid out? And it gave me hope, I guess is the word I should be looking for. So with that hope, I have been on this mission to hopefully get my thyroid levels balanced out somehow. Not having a thyroid is definitely more of a challenge, and it's more of a long term, like, roller coaster of seeing how I feel every day. I think somebody in one of the discussion boards I'm on that I interact with used a really great term that said every day is literally a choose your own adventure kind of day, because you don't know how you're going to feel, you don't know how much energy you're going to have, and you literally have to just find a way to like push forward, even when you feel like a hot dumpster fire, like I do sometimes. So anyway, so I switched to levothyroxine about a month ago, and then I just recently, and that's a T4 medication. So I decided, since Armor Thyroid, and I was on that for so long, was both T3, T4, I would try a synthetic T3. So I added levothyronine in. So now I take levothyronine and levothyroxine, which are T3, T4 synthetic supplements, synthetic hormone replacement, excuse me. And I've been on those for a couple weeks, and the side effects with that T3 medication are supposed to be a lot like being hyper. And again, it's only been a couple weeks, so I can't really tell like where I'm at. So between the thyroid eye disease, trying to level out my my thyroid medication so that I can like see what my labs look like. It's 6 weeks roughly each time before you can, hopefully, sometimes it's even 2 months before you can really feel or tell a difference. So, having to make this change, wait it out for like, weeks, and then do labs is always a challenge. To be patient and have grace with yourself, knowing that like you're not sure how you're gonna feel, but like keeping in mind and bearing in mind that like you have to have grace with yourself to understand your limitations and still like know that like this is not finite, and hopefully I'll feel better. So that's kind of where I'm at now. In about a month or so, I'll have labs that will tell me if the synthetic T3 and T4 hormone replacement has been helpful. I have noticed some changes, and again, it's hard to pinpoint if those changes are because I am doing more stuff, I am being a little more active, and I'm just trying to get some routines going again, because I function better when I'm like up and active, when I'm like working and I have things to focus on. So I'm really, yeah, so my health is interesting, and I'm really hoping the thyroid eye disease will not flare up again. Usually, a flare up for me starts with the with it just kind of like there's already a lot of pressure. The pressure's already started to ease, which is why I do think it's allergies this time of year with the weather shift and all the dust in the air and everything else. I do have like the chronic dry eye with it. My eyes don't close completely when I'm sleeping, and so it's anticipated that there's going to be some irritation and dryness there anyway. So I imagine if I got much better with the eye drops, like my neuro-ophthalmologist keeps letting me know, and I just stick to these changes in my medications and everything else, that like hopefully somehow all of these autoimmune diseases that I have, like thyroid eye disease, especially with the thyroid disorders, will like, I don't know, balance each other out. It's hard to say, but my hope is that like, talking about this stuff maybe can help someone else. I know it's so hard having these thyroid disorders, whether it's the thyroid eye disease or any sort of thyroid removal or hyperthyroid, hypothyroid, Graves' disease, Hashimoto's. It all sucks. Just like any autoimmune diseases and cancer, it's such a different way to have to learn to live. And having that will to continue is really important. So I just hope that like people are getting things from this. I know because I don't get my labs done, I maybe get it done once every couple of months. These updates will be mostly infrequent. I just thought with my eyes kind of puffy this morning, it was good to like get out there and like do this. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Just waiting to see if like these allergies, if they are allergies, turn into something worse with the thyroid eye disease. Trying to keep the pressure in my head due to the change in weather at bay so that I'm not having headaches from intracranial hypertension. Balancing out my thyroid levels with levothyronine and levothyroxine. And then, in late November, I'll have that answer. And then from there, it's going to be a matter of deciding, well, do I go back on different doses of the Armour thyroid, which is a more natural, like desiccated pig thyroid, to see if that's going to be a thing, because I was on that for so many years now, well, like 2 or 3 years, and so that switch, I'm sure my body's still in an adjustment period from making that big change too. So I'm just trying to feel things out, and hopefully, my goal is, I hope, and I'm above all, that by the end of this year, 2022, that like I can have my thyroid stuff handled and in check and to a point and level that I can feel mostly like a somewhat functional human being. And I just want more days where I feel okay and less days where I feel like a dumpster fire. So, even on those days where I feel like a dumpster fire, I just let people know I'm not feeling well and I just keep pushing through. And that's hard too because I don't look like I'm sick and I'm still dressed and out in the world, but like I don't feel great, and it's harder to explain that to people because they don't necessarily understand how all of that works together. And I know a lot of people dealing with these issues, that's a struggle too, being out in the world and getting those comments, "Oh, you don't look sick. Why do you have to like cancel all of these things that you said you were going to do?" And that's a hard stigma because I really want to be accountable. I want to be reliable, and I'm really working harder at like not of being okay saying no or maybe, and letting them know that like if I'm there, it's because I want to be there and I'm feeling okay. But please don't be upset if I'm not there, if I don't feel like I can take on more at this time because I'm sick and I just am not in a place where I can handle a lot on my plate, any more on my plate than's already there if I can help it. So I am, going through this growth personally. I am adjusting my health, and my hopes are that like I can get to a somewhat more stable space with both eventually. It's never an overnight process. It's a lot of work. I'm 40 years old, so like going through a lot of this now, my primary care is like she wonders how, we often get out of bed in the morning and just keep going, but like you have to. Like the alternative sucks. So like plus I love being around and I love learning and I love like trying to better myself and build my life and just be there. So and also like hopefully help people and build a solid system of support around me and also be able to be a solid system of support for those in my life and for others and leave positive impacts in the world. So I'm going to cut this at about 15 minutes because I've been rambling, but I just thought it was good to, like, I looked in the mirror and I was like, my eyes are puffy. I think this has to be a thing today because I have not been great. Again, as anyone who's been seeing my feed knows, it's like, every few months or so um, before I get any updates out. So, and it's usually based on something happening, like finding out my meds are all off. So, that's about that. Thank you for watching. Please comment. Please feel free to reach out if you have questions. And know that like this stuff sucks, but it's just a matter of community and learning from one another, helping each other, and loving one another, and having patience and grace with ourselves, and knowing that like we're not perfect. We're gonna have these problems and struggles, but like together we can understand them and like work on them, and hopefully like things will just be better. So thanks all, and have a wonderful, wonderful day or week or whatever it might be.